This Eagles organization, it's a mess. It really is. And I don't have an answer on how to fix it right now. I don't. All we got to do is hope that they dig deep and figure something out for the playoffs. We're going to keep this Eagles conversation going. Trending in the AM. Season 3 premiere kicks off with your thoughts and opinions in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live and back in action here. Couple days off for the holiday, couple days off in Florida. We're back for season 3, year 3 of doing this great morning show. Second year right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I'm taking that piece out because it's broken, echoing in my ear. Actually, I'm just going to go with no speakers in my ear. Hopefully you guys can hear me if anything happens, whatever. We're going to go this way. That's right. Go Birds. Even though all destiny, all hope, everything is lost, Zach, it's still very simple. It's Go Birds. Can't really change that. Good morning, Adam. Happy New Year to you and to everybody. Are we doomed? Actually, I like that better than the title of the show, and I'm going to write that down. I might use that as a title later this week. Eagles doomed. Davon coming in hot with a great title right there for a later show. We're a mess. This Eagles organization is a mess. And I don't know if they're doomed or not. But the fact that there is no clear answer to what the problem is right now means we might be doomed. We might be. Good morning, Peanut. Happy New Year to you and your family, my man. Core 12, report to duty for season 3. Season 3. I cannot believe, right off the bat, I'm just going to say it. I can't believe this is my started my third year of doing a morning show. Season 3. Crazy that I've been getting up every morning with you guys for almost 3 years now. What will 2024 bring? I have no idea. But what it will bring, I do know one thing it'll bring, and that is lots of Eagles talk on a daily basis. Anyway, I didn't even get to it. You're watching Trending in the AM. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, subscribe, retweet. Again, we are live on Twitter again as well. So if you're watching on Twitter, click on the video and it'll pop up a box where you can comment. I'm going to really push that Twitter aspect a little bit in the next couple weeks. Make sure everybody that's watching on Twitter knows your opinions can be heard. I will answer them live on the show. That's what we do here. And I think it's time this year, 2024, for me to pay even more attention to your opinions on this show. The tagline of this show, your opinions actually matter. I'm going to take it to a whole new level this year. Today is the most sober I've been in a long time. Time for some Trending in the AM to get you back in the rhythm. Yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. Starting today, I just got back from vacation, Peanut. We are in detox mode now. First week after vacation is detox mode until Sunday's Eagles game, and if we're losing to the Giants, then that'll just get cut right off. Happy fully 2024, or hopefully 2024 brings Brian Johnson out of here. All right, so let's dive into this Eagles situation. The Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, going to throw Howie Roseman's name into the conversation as well. Excuse me. This organization of the Eagles is a complete and total disaster right now. And there's two different angles to take that I want to discuss today. One being that the coaching / GM issue. There's a lot of talk of wanting to fire Brian Johnson. A lot of talk about wanting to fire Nick Sirianni. Is he on the hot seat or not? And then there's also a lot of talk about a fractured locker room. And see, the organization is a mess because I don't think the locker room is fractured. We're going to get into A.J. Brown in a little bit for sure. I don't think the locker room is fractured. I don't think there's a divide between A.J. Brown and Julio Jones or or Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, or the defense hates the offense, or the offense hates the defense. I think the locker room has so many great leaders that they are under lock and key. They're tight. The problem is it's fractured between the coaches and the front office and the players. That's where the fracture is. That's where the break is in this organization. And it's not good. We don't need a mutiny where all the players are quitting on the coaches. And that's what's happened. And that's a problem. You've got confusion coming on defense. Who's the defense coordinator? Who's calling the plays? What style are we running? On offense, who's designing the system for the game? Who's coming up with the game plan? Who's calling the plays? When are the plays being called? Who's outmatched? Who doesn't have a clue what they're doing? Players are being told to run plays that they know aren't going to work. There's a huge break, a huge fracture between management and staff right now. And that is never good in any business. And that's where I see the fracture. Why does Howie's appointed coaching staff always have a short shelf life? Well, this is a big thing because everyone wants to say that Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat or should be. You can't fire Nick Sirianni just less than 2 years after going to the Super Bowl. And the reason being, you just fired a Super Bowl winning coach a few years ago that had just won a Super Bowl. And then you're going to fire another one that got to the Super Bowl. No elite coaching candidates are going to want to come here with that kind of dysfunction. It's just proving the fact that this coaching staff are really just puppets for Howie Roseman. And look, I have eased off of my Howie Roseman hate over the last few years. I've given him credit where credit's due. But the one thing that I will never get over is the fact that he has too much of an influence, too much say, too much thumbprint on the day-to-day weekly operations of the football team. He wants to build the roster, great. In his decisions, whatever. He wants to pick the coaches, whatever. But after that, he's got to let off. He's got to back off. So there's a problem there. If just God forbid we lose the Giants, we get blown out in the first round of the playoffs, and that conversation comes up. Or God forbid he gets fired, Nick Sirianni. Well, then who's going to want to come here? Outside of coaches that are looking for their first opportunity and might be underqualified, nobody's going to want to come here. Jalen Warren, Muhammad Ali jacked the presser. Yeah, I saw that. The irony of a player on a team with no fight. See, the thing is there no fight? Or are they making, which is even worse, actually, is if they're trying to make a statement that they're unhappy with the coaching staff. Maybe. AJ will speak today. I'm torn on this. He is going to speak today. And there's now, because of the fact that he hasn't spoken, Marshawn, in so long, there's so much pressure on what he says. We want him to say he wants out, or we want him to call out a coach or a player or whatnot. But he can't. That just causes more drama. He has put so much pressure on what he says today that it's going to disappoint one way or another. And what he says, I'm sure, will be the leadoff, of tomorrow's show. But what do we expect him to say today that won't fracture this team anymore? And if he says some cliche things, we're tighter than ever, that's just going to be called out by fans as bogus. Exactly. I don't see it as a locker room issue, more of a Dave, I'm glad you see that. That's how I see it. There's a fracture between upper management and the players. And that's not good for business. Buffalo Radio says Eagles one and done. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles, no Eagles fan can think the Eagles are going to do anything more than losing the playoffs. Well, if Buffalo Radio, but see, the point is, everyone's got to agree that that's the case. How this offense is this bad is insane. 2-1. I know you have 3 players on this team with over 1,000 yards, plus you've got an MVP caliber quarterback, and we're stagnant as can be. Inexperience, Brian Johnson. Inexperience of Nick Sirianni. It's showing. But also how much of that inexperience and how much of it is Howie saying pass. You got a 1,000-yard rusher in DeAndre Swift that should have 1,500 yards if this offense was run right. Guys, there's a leak. Howie planned all this soft play by players to save ourselves for the Super Bowl, and we become underdogs in the element of surprise. Playoffs, we come alive. Watch it. I mean, one of the notes I wrote down for today's show, is there an unlikely path back to the Super Bowl, Travis? I did write that here in my notebook. I mean, you can't really see it, but it's there. Um, I don't know if I'm ready to get into that conversation yet today, but I highly doubt that was the actual plan. Chill. Phil Siri not going. I know he is not going anywhere. K1, but the fan base is talking about it nonstop. And the point is, I don't want him to go anywhere because, as the title says, this organization is a mess. You fire your coach after year two, after he took them to or after year three, after taking them to the Super Bowl in year two, and still making the playoffs. Let's not forget they are still 11-5. All this doom and gloom right now is because of recency bias. He is not getting fired, but the fans are thinking. The fans are talking. The fans are calling. They've got the lynch mob ready to go. Just telling you, don't agree. Yeah, well, we'll see. We are beyond frauds this year, but this team is far too talented not to win in the next 2 years. I believe in Howie to right the ship. Well, the question will be, how will Howie right the ship? How can you reconnect the players and the coaches? How can you open the line of communication there? How can you get them believing in what plays are called are going to work? How can you get them to believe that what they say is true? Howie's blindness in coaches is the issue. Yeah, they're both major issues. Major issues. Howie has learned. Howie has grown in his philosophies over the last 5 years, and he's gotten better. Well, he's got one more step in his growth to make, and then we will see. And I'm not trying to dump this all on Howie Roseman. I don't want it to sound like that. I'm not off the Howie Roseman, off the Howie Roseman, great executive train yet or anything like that. I'm just bringing up the fact that there are issues there, that he still has room to grow. I'm curious what's going on with the roster. I predicted the Eagles aren't getting to the Super Bowl. Not at this point. It could happen, sure, but it's not going to happen. As of this moment, we had the best run defense, now the worst. I mean, that's insane, Travis. It's true, but it's completely insane. Best halftime adjustment maker, now the worst. We're playing conservative, the blowout come playoffs, and we go full power, bring Jalen Carter back. That's the thing. I want to come back to the defense and the run in a second. I want to catch up on some of these comments. You do need an edge in draft. It's crazy that we actually need an edge rusher right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we are one and done. How you can think they're not at this point, I don't know. Smitty is sitting at home in a booth saying, I really want to block for Kenny Gainwell on 3rd and 20 on the screen. Yeah. You can't tell me these receivers aren't upset with each other or with the coach calling that play. And we all heard Brian Johnson say, I like the play calls of the run screen in that situation, which is total bogus. Totally bogus. Smitty got hurt on a play that should never have been called. And then you got Brian Johnson out there, justifying 2nd and 16 quarterback draw and 3rd and 20 bubble screen to Kenny Gainwell. That's where the fracture is. The players seeing these plays being called, knowing they're the wrong plays. This team is the juice that gathers in the bottom of your. Yeah. If you've ever worked in a restaurant and you go to take the trash out at the end of the night out of the dish room, you know what that juice in the bottom of the trash can really smells and looks like. Never good. Never good. I bet you we come alive in the playoffs. It's a smart plan for a team. No. So I disagree with this. It's not like other sports. You can't just flip a switch and all's fine. You don't purposely play conservative at the end of the season, and hope that the light comes back on. I get what you're saying, but I just don't think that that's the way in the NFL, you do things. I don't think it's the right way to go at all, Travis, in my opinion. I don't know how Howie does it. I just know he will. If history tells me about Howie, is that it starts with heads rolling this offseason. Yeah. But again, you can't fire the coach. You can fire the coordinators, and that will happen almost definitely at the end of the season. But again, if Howie's picking the coordinators, not Nick Sirianni, then we're right back in this situation in a year or two. You think Frank Reich is going to want to come here now that he's an established name to be our offensive coordinator when he knows how he's going to tell him pass when you're supposed to run? That's it. I think David Tepper is a secret Eagles fan. I don't know who that is. Injuries, lack of depth, and not being able to develop young DBs is a story we deal with almost every year. Absolutely, we didn't have the injuries last year, so we had depth last year, and our cornerbacks were great last year, even though they're veterans. Now, there's a lot of brightness on the future with our secondary, but I don't know. I can't trust it. I can't. Excuse me. NFC, pretty bad. The NFC is actually stronger than you think. There's no team that goes a season one way until you switch another way with no one being fired or injured. It's all planned out. I'm sorry, I'm disagreeing with you. I am upset with each other, meaning at the running backs, at Jalen, at the O line for not blocking well. And if not, a damn soul is happy in that locker room, whether it's the coaching staff or the players. Yeah, it's a very, very pissed off locker room right now. A lot of grumpiness in that locker room right now. And in my opinion, Marshawn, it's very warranted. Bad calls on offense, bad inexperienced linebackers, D-backs equals bad football. Equals, yeah, the Eagles just steamrolling everybody equals terrible content. Us having something to bitch and moan about every morning equals great content. It's pathetic that that's negativity brings great clicks. Negativity brings great views. So I'm going to bring more negativity to the show in 2024 to just help grow it even more. Maybe that's the direction I go. You can't switch it on and off like that. Yeah, I agree. You just can't. You can't switch it off in the NFL. Guys, did you see our D line? Our monstrous D line got pushed silly by Arizona. Yeah, they did. And let's just get right into it because I'm almost caught up on the comments. Actually, I'll get right to that in a second. Quit saying you can't fire the coach. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you can't. You can. I'm saying it's not smart to do it again so quickly um, for the betterment of the organization. Uh, I don't know what AJ is going to say today. No clue. But as I said, a few minutes ago, whatever he says will be disappointing. Either he'll say nothing and we'll be disappointed, like nothing substantial, or he'll say something substantial and we'll say he's fracturing the locker room even more. Either way, he's going to piss us off with whatever he says. If you want a pass first team, shouldn't you hire a coach with a reputation for running a good passing offense? Hey, Art Bieniemy might be available at the end of the year. You never know. It will be so funny when we come alive in the playoffs, and I'll be here to tell you, hey, I'll accept. I have no problem eating crow. I'm the only content creator out there that admits his wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll say it. No problem. But this defensive line that we keep talking about, I want to talk about it a little bit. Can it come alive? What they're missing, what the problem is. Because I saw the Brian Baldinger video of him talking about Jordan Davis and how bad Jordan Davis has become. Like at the start of this year, Jordan Davis in great shape, was making a massive impact. And I always knew Jordan Davis would never make an impact that shows up in a box score. He's not going to be a guy with 100 tackles, 10 sacks, nothing like that. He does it by his size, his girth, and whatnot. But Jordan Davis has been non-existent. And Baldy in his video says, he's out of shape. He's got bad technique because he's out of shape now. He's basically falling to pieces on what was supposed to be a great season and started out as a great season for him. And that's making a big issue. That's forcing Fletcher Cox to play too much. Jalen Carter has kind of sort of hit a rookie wall. What is going on with this defensive line? And it's amplified even more because Kyle Hamilton should have been the pick over Jordan Davis. He's playing great in Baltimore. We're really weak at safety. So the glaring thing, I still like Jordan Davis as a pick 2 years ago. Wasn't my choice, but I still like it. But this defensive line is getting pushed around far too much. The best run defense, as someone said earlier, to one of the worst in a blink of an eye. What's caused that? Miscommunication on the defense? Is it the lack of the linebacker play, bad safety play, or is just the defensive line not as good as we thought? You got young guys that are hitting their wall and super old guys that are hitting their wall. You got nobody in the middle. And maybe that's a problem. And I'm really, really shocked that and when I saw what the video was going to be about, him calling out Jordan Davis, I was like, oh, no, I'm going to hate this. But he made some really good points, Baldy, about it. It sure as hell isn't Howie getting canned. Well, no, we know that. Not yet. But I do see a scenario where Howie could get canned. He has outlasted everyone in that building, including Andy. How many GMs have a GM tree? Look at the Jets and the Browns. Absolutely. I get it. It's funny, but it's true. Weaknesses in linebacker position causing our frontline guys to get worn out, and they can focus on pressure since they have to be. Yeah, absolutely, and that's fair. Maybe the weaknesses at linebacker are part of why the defensive line is struggling massively. It's also struggling massively because Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. What has this team had? 11 sacks in the last 7 weeks, something like that. No reason for this defensive line to have 11 sacks, or the whole defense actually, 11 sacks in 7 weeks. This defensive line is too talented. I know you got Hassan Reddick dropping into coverage a bunch now all of a sudden, and Matt Patricia justifying it here and there, whatever. Josh Sweat has not been good this year. Oh, I knew the name, I just didn't know who he was. Gotcha. If that happens, Travis will be captain. Yeah, I'll anoint him captain of the core 12 if we go on a run and get back to the Super Bowl. This Super Bowl was always destined to be Niners Ravens when their team's colors were you. Yeah, that's the script writers right there. Honestly, I'm with AJ. He really should be frustrated. Absolutely. I'm okay with them being frustrated. AJ is acting like something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out when he talks today. I just don't think what we learned from him today is going to change anything. He throws his drink on fans, which yeah. Hopefully Travis is right, but I don't, Bobby. I don't see it happening either. Liam said stats don't matter. Stats matter, but they also don't matter to an extent. You didn't admit your crimes against Abolina. I didn't have a crime there. Congestion, sinus issues, or valid excuse. I don't buy this JD shade. The defense tackles are getting doubled every play, and we aren't adjusting. No, but I get what you're saying, Kayvon. Now, if you go back and you listen to the Baldy video, he talks about the technique. He talks about him being out of shape, and talks about him getting pushed off the line far too easily compared to the first few weeks of the season when we were all talking that Jordan Davis was having a breakout start to this season. That's why we drafted him in the first round in the top 10. And then all of a sudden, as the year went on, he has spiraled downward. He's also played a lot more snaps than he's used to. I'm so disappointed in Jordan Davis. This guy has all the talents, and he has no dog in him. He's exhausted. He's either got no dog in him, he's out of shape, and he's gassed. One of the three or all three. It's a problem. Kyle Hamilton was never going to be an Eagle. I know that. And I still believe in Jordan and Nolan's upside. It looks bleak now, but what isn't with this team? Exactly. We're finding all the now because of the downward spiral, Marshawn, of this team. We're finding all the negativity with this team. With winning, with greatness comes positivity. With a downward spiral, we're noticing the mistakes a little bit more. We're noticing what's wrong with this team a little bit more. If you're 10-1 and have a bunch of one-time players like Slay, Bradbury, Cox, old offensive line, wouldn't you be smart about your team in the long run? Howie is super smart, people. I love the Howie positivity. I'm not feeling it today, Travis, the Howie positivity. But I love that you've got it. I love that you've got it still. And look, if Detroit and Dallas lose this week and we win, we can still be the number 2 seed in the conference. And all of a sudden, we're the 2 seed. We're happy on Monday. I don't see it happening, but it could. What was everybody's Steelers resolution? The defense is so tired because they can never get off the field. That's why the number 1 seed was so important to get them an extra week off, and getting off the field on third down. That's on them. That's on the coaches. That's on them. So they need to. They need a break, but they can give themselves a break by getting off the field, making one more play, missing one less tackle. The cornerbacks outside of Sidney Brown, nobody wants to make a tackle. Which one? Yeah, we've all got lots of them. His pronunciation issues. Pronunciation. I'm reading it exactly as it's spelled. Bobby, because they need to keep Hurts healthy off the field and the O-line. More defense on the field, less offense. Yeah, the offense can help the defense. Thanks, Core 12, for not voting for. Yeah. Let's back off of this Eagles conversation for one day. Philadelphia Sports Network Awards. I was up for 2 of them, Rookie of the Year and Best YouTube Show on the network, and I didn't win either of them. All right, you know what? There are a lot of people on Rookie of the Year, a lot of new people at PSN, some great writers, and I'm a lesser known guy because I don't write. But not winning YouTube Show of the Year, guys, I'm disappointed in all of you. If you didn't vote, you're banned from the Core 12 for a week. Now, that's ridiculous, Travis. Teams always want to win time of possession, always. We have lost time of possession, Bobby, so much lately because of the offense and the defense. Jordan Davis still looks too heavy. He needs to be more professional. Davey, I agree. I think he looked better. He came into camp, Davey, in great shape. But he hasn't stayed like a professional, a great athlete, a great football player stays in shape over the course of the season. Doesn't just come in shape, stays in shape. And that's the next level of development, I guess, for Jordan Davis. What vote was that? There was a PSN award show, and I didn't win YouTube show for PSN. You're on my thing, K1. We all know he's out of shape, but the mistake isn't drafting him over Kyle. It's not getting enough depth players on the D line. The D line had depth to start this season. At least we thought it did. Hell, Ojomo, who's playing now significant snaps, wasn't even dressing some weeks because we had the depth. People don't realize also the loss of Derek Barnett has hurt our depth and stopped our rushing attack. He was one of the best defensive run stoppers we had. We had an extra week off last year, but lost in the Super Bowl, so that didn't work. We didn't lose in the Super Bowl because we had a week off. I don't understand the point of that one, Travis. I don't. Phil runner up for best. Yeah, stop. It was not good. Sidney Brown is hungry. He still has so much growth to do, Davon. But at least he's out there giving it 110. Him, Keely Ringo, and a few others are out there giving it 110%. But I feel like I'm only getting 95% for some others. I voted for you. Well, thank you, Davey. At least one person did. Damn, I'm sorry. You're gonna. Hey, we'll get there. Don't worry. I'm just messing with everybody. Awards don't mean anything to me. Money does, but awards don't. Teams are gonna max protect to take away a once 70 sack defense, same way any defense takes away Jalen's strength. That's fine. But you don't think they were max protecting mid-season last year, late in the season last year? I don't know. You still pay Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat a lot of money, and they just haven't been good enough. Yeah, the PSN awards were fixed. Absolutely. I mean, the Union team, the Philadelphia Union team won like 9 awards. Bogus. It was rigged. Yeah, I do. I told them to stop the count at one point. I knew I wasn't going to win. Voting fraud all over the PSN awards. It only has 12 members. That's true. There should have been more. If Phil streamed one game or post, I streamed post game on Sunday after the Eagles game, so I did do that. Just so you know, popular votes never count. Yeah, look, I'm not worried about it. Sidney Brown proved my point. He said they are playing soft in practice. The Sidney Brown Travis comments, I saw them after the game on Sunday, and I still haven't. What's today? Wednesday? We're talking 3-4 days later. I'm still not over that. If anything is cause for me to want to fire Nick Sirianni, it's not the drop off in our performance lately. It's the Sidney Brown comments. You know, the same thing happened with Doc Rivers. You know, I remember when George Niang was asked about practice last year or 2 years ago, and he just laughed. I think it was on JJ Redick's podcast, and JJ Redick looked at him and laughed back, knowing that they don't practice. The same things happen with the Eagles. You know, the players are laughing at their practice routine. That's not a good sign when your rookie players are laughing at your practice routine. You get out, the vote effort was lacking, Phil, just like our offensive game plan. You can't blame me for this. Usually we have depth, and that's why you have Sweat and Reddick out there for every snap. Well, they're not doing their job anymore. Liam at the Giant venue in its James Bond suit and big smiles, he announces the winner. Yeah. And it wasn't me. Damn it. I thought last game the secondary is doo-doo. I think the secondary's played better, but they're still playing not great. You got a bunch of rookies out there, young kids, and you're putting a lot of pressure on them. Reality is we have so many stars to be playing like a piece of garbage, so I'm thinking it's planned. I think the thinking it's planned is wrong. If you would just say that they're going to flip a switch and you didn't throw in the "it's planned this way" part of it, maybe I can buy into it, Travis. That they're just playing soft to rest themselves, but saying it's planned, I think is no team's planning on losing 4 out of 5 games just to be ready for the playoffs. You had a chance at the 1 seed, and they're not going to they're not going to purposely lose games to get the 5 or 6 seed. Just saying. I only watched 3 minutes of the award show, and the Union writer got so much love. It was hilarious. They do a great job at covering Union. I don't know nothing about the Union, but I know they do. They pump out great content, and they're right there with the Eagles coverage. As you know, the Eagles are what made the PSN bones. But I would say, and this is not a knock on any of the other teams, but it's the Eagles and the Union, the two most respected teams outside of PSN, with what the coverage they do. You did one. You did stream one post game after the voting. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Do a better job about stuffing next year. I don't. No, not going to. Jordan Davis is a 7', 400-pound wannabe ladies man singing R&B ballads instead of pumping iron in the gym. Maya Lotta is a bad influence. Well, I don't know about that. But Jordan Davis has so much potential, and yet he's just not doing it. He's not living up to it yet. It's still part of the maturity and the growth. The problem is, you would have thought Fletcher Cox would have been in his ear all year. Why isn't Fletcher Cox teaching him how to be a pro? Come on, let's spend an extra 15 minutes in the gym, bro. No. You're not. This is not a. Fletcher Cox shouldn't go to Jordan Davis and say, "Hey, you want to go pump an extra 15 minutes of iron?" No, he should be telling him, "Yo, you're coming with me right now, or else." I watched a bit of the award show and wasn't for me. Yeah. Look, I was having a good old time in Florida. The whole NFL practices are not like they used to be out in Lehigh. I get that. You don't practice the same way, especially in Philly. But when your players, your rookie players, are calling out the practice style, that's not good. It's not. Same Marshawn Life's, yeah, exactly. It was all a dog and pony show. Brown comments mean the players don't know what's going on, but Sirianni and Howie and Laurie wants to save up this team's health. I don't know. I'm still not sure where tomorrow's going to go or today's going to go with AJ Brown and what we'll be talking about tomorrow. But my best guess, it'll be a disappointment because Phil didn't win anything. The marathon man, dude, I'm here every day. Oh, I even do shows on vacation. Not every day, but almost every day on vacation. I still did shows. Instead of poking Hurts with a padded stick in practice, how about practicing tackling and coverage schemes instead? Yeah, they seem to put a lot of emphasis on ball security in practice, and you do want them to practice ball security, but obviously that's not working because we're one of the most. We turn the ball over more than most teams in the NFL, and we don't create turnovers. So maybe we should practice instead of using a little poking stick. Have your safeties and linebackers try to strip the ball out of your running back's hand. Seriously, something's got to change because obviously the way they're doing it isn't working. And look, nothing can drastically change right now. It's too late in the season to change anything right now. But what went on this year, how it went and how it unfolded needs to be dissected immediately in the offseason so that come next year, we're doing a better job at practice. We're doing a better job in the season. We're doing a better job everywhere. Issue if they go into every game with the same scheme. It's predictable. I still can't get over the Christian McCaffrey calling a play out 3 seconds after he joins a broadcast in a game he wasn't paying attention to because it's so obvious. And then, of course, Brian Johnson or Nick saying, no. That's the first time we ran that play. Load of BS. Kyler Murray hung some on you. He did. And that's my fault for calling him out for being crabby. Mitchie Poo, good morning. 31-minute triple-double from Joel Embiid last night. First game back, and he goes out there, drops a triple-double. Hell, he almost had the triple-double in the first quarter. Yes, I saw it, Mitchie Poo. I wouldn't miss it. Exactly. There should have been an award for best chat or best support. Yeah, who has the best supporters? We still wouldn't have won it because it was all scam. It was all predetermined. Um, Phil has stu- Phil, dude, this chat is the best. I actually want this chat to get even better, K1. I want it to grow. I want more people in the chat. I want to be able to justify going 2 hours on this show every day. But we need more. We need more. Sure, dude. Golf starts next week. Treading in the fairway to heaven. 9 p.m. next Tuesday. I might throw out some short golf videos this week about Century, Tournament of Champions, Colin Morikawa. Probably the winner of that. But my golf content is back next week, baby. Kyle Edmonton or Brian Branch would have been the Eagles. Same way Earl Thomas. Yeah, look, I put out a post about this stuff, and a lot of people commented that the Earl Thomas over Brandon Graham conversation we had a million years ago, and Brandon Graham turned out okay. But it took a few years. Remember, it was 3-4 years into his career, and we were calling Brandon Graham a bust. It took a while for him to find his groove. And Jordan Davis in 3, 4, 5 years might be fine. Nolan Smith might be great in 3 years. But we're in a Super Bowl championship window. Remember when I said at the beginning of the year that this team needed to make 4 Super Bowls in the next 8 years or something like that, win 1 or 2 over the next couple of years. Because that's how talented this team is. Well, now all of a sudden I'm questioning that. I don't. We want them to capitalize on this window. They're not this year. Hamilton and Branch, one or the other, would have helped them capitalize this year more. Now, Howie still got that big picture in mind, but I don't know. I think we're in the bargaining stage now. Bargaining on what? We need to stop blaming the coaches because even the coaches are pimped out by Howie and Lori, BJ and Patricia, bunch of puppets too. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I don't think you could fire Nick Sirianni, even though they won't, but they can, because it's just going to send a bad message to coaches around the NFL. That's one of the biggest adjustments Howie needs to make. Nick, you pick your coaches. You pick your coordinator. That's it. You run out. I'll pick the players. You run whatever scheme you want with the players I bring to you. You tell me what kind of players you want, and I'll try to find them. There's got to be more dialogue between Howie and Nick, and Nick's got to have more of a say if he's going to be a successful head coach in Philly long term. It can't just be what Howie says. And if it's going to be what Howie says, Howie might as well put a headset on and go coach the team himself. Actually, I think Howie would love that. These Georgia dog draft picks have been disappointing. Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter. Bobby, you're not wrong. Jordan Davis, they're all young. And they can all do more still. Jordan Davis, I have some hope for. Nolan Smith was never going to be a factor this year, which is why it's so heartbreaking that he was taken over Brian Branch. Nakobe Dean was a risk, injury risk. And I'm not writing Nakobe Dean off completely, but he ain't guaranteed nothing next year. He's not guaranteed a starting job. They better go out and find another linebacker, make him fight for something. You know, they put too much onus at the linebacker position this year in assuming Nakobe Dean was going to be this elite linebacker. And he was okay. And he was hurt. What's this, his second time on IR right now? And Jalen Carter, he has fallen off. He's hitting a little bit of that rookie wall. He is. And he better find another gear next week in the playoffs. We are all in the anger stage. Just wait till the season ends in 2 weeks. You know how angry we are going to be in 2 weeks when this team gets knocked out in the first round of the playoffs? Nolan Smith actually played more snaps. I forget what the box score numbers were. I think he played close to 20 snaps, the most he's played all year. And I actually saw him near the ball a few times. But, you know, still, he's barely played this year. No one can look unstoppable and then dramatically fall off mid-season. Like maybe season-ending injuries, but dramatic fall-off. Never happens. It does. If they're not trained properly, if they're not in great shape, if they lose faith in their coaches, just say it. At least no. We're not going there this morning, Bobby. We're not. I apologize for putting that. Sorry, Bobby. Off screen, I'll laugh at it. Yeah. Yeah. It was a bad, bad joke, my man. Um, a little too soon on that one. Look at this. Marshawn segueing me so easy into something else that's really been grinding my gears. If you follow me on Twitter, you know where I'm going to go with this. First and foremost, no, Seth Joyner, not who he. Why does everybody want Seth Joyner to be the coach of this defense? When was the last time Seth Joyner, Marshawn, coached? I'll wait for the answer because you're not going to find out when he coached last because he's never coached. He stopped playing football 20 plus years ago, and he's never been a coach. He always wants to be a coach, but he's never been. Why? Because maybe he's just not going to be that kind of guy that would make a good coach. This day and age, you can't have that kind of a personality as a coach. Hunters won't respect that. It was sarcasm. It's sarcasm. Well, it's still great because you know what? This is something, I put it out there on Twitter a couple days ago, and it's still getting responses and likes and calling me crazy for it. I said, because of the way this defense is played, you got all these people saying, we need to bring back Buddy Ryan style football. We need to find the next Buddy Ryan to coach our defense. People are nuts. Why does anybody think Buddy Ball is the answer? Buddy Ball isn't the answer. Hell, Jim Johnson isn't the answer. Those styles of defenses are not successful anymore. Hell, if Buddy Ryan's style, the 4-6, became our thing, we'd have literally 30 personal foul plays a game. If Buddy Ball was the answer, maybe Buddy Ball would have won a playoff game. Hell, it wasn't even Buddy Ryan that ran those defenses, those supposed great defenses of the late 80s, early 90s. It was Ben Carson. Jim Johnson, our great defensive coordinator, one of the best. Did he ever win a Super Bowl? No. Jim Johnson was uber aggressive. You look at the majority of the playoff teams, they're not heavy blitz teams. They pick the right time to blitz, but a majority of the playoff teams are not all-out blitz in every other play like Eagles fans want or seem to think they want. That's just not the way the NFL is run. You need to get great pass rush from your front 4 or 5, have great linebackers, have great cornerbacks. Now, a defensive scheme change can happen, but the Buddy Ryan era, bringing in a Seth Joyner, everybody wants Brian Dawkins to be the head coach or defensive coordinator. Brian Dawkins doesn't want to coach this team. Maybe get him to come in here as a consultant for a practice once or twice, but that's it. When Phil doesn't get the joke, it's great content. The thing is, if there's not a laughy emoji or something on it, it's hard to convey sarcasm, especially when it's something that so many fans actually truly believe, K1. There are a lot of people out there in Eagles Nation that want Seth Joyner here in Philadelphia to be a coach, that they want Buddy Ball back. They want Jim Johnson back. It's a different NFL. Buddy Ryan's not the answer. Seth Joyner called this team a bunch of, that's going to, if Seth Joyner was the coach of this team, he would literally go into the locker room after that Cardinals game and say it's all their faces. You think a bunch of grown men want to be called that by their coach, their manager? I went to my pizza shop today, called all my workers that for, how they handled the pizza shop, which they did a great job while I was away. Never taken 11 days off from the pizza shop. Almost 16 years in business. It was great to have 11 days off in a row. I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go in today. Fox's Pizza, Kennett Square, PA. Come see me. My staff would walk out. Players aren't going to play for a coach like that. It's not the way people are nowadays. They lose and they are out. Yeah, we know that. I need Seth Joyner to be hired just to say Slay and Leonard Darius from the sideline. Yeah. See, I get that joke. See, you put a laughy emoji. I get it. That one I would have gotten without the laughy emoji. But that style of coaching doesn't work. And everybody always lives in the past. I want this guy from the past. I want that guy from the past. The past, when it didn't work in the past, why is it going to work now? They just want that. Fans just want that hard-hitting style that we used to have. But again, that style didn't win us anything. Just like Kelly Green doesn't do anything for me. Even though there's a Kelly Green jersey hanging up back there. I did cave to Timu. No good team has ever lost so many. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Funny how after Gannon and Schwartz leave here, they suddenly start blitzing more often. Obviously, our front office is dictating schemes. Bobby, I've been saying this for weeks now. And you see it even more when we face Jonathan Gannon face to face like that. Jim Schwartz, we couldn't wait to run Jim Schwartz out of here and his sticks defense. We'd all love Jim Schwartz back. Hell, I would take Jonathan Gannon back. Honestly, go from a top 10 defense to a bottom 5 defense. Like that. And he was running a top 10 defense, running a scheme he didn't agree with. That's not good. Alonzo references. Yeah, I know. He always likes to throw Kiko's name in there somewhere here and there. We made world history of the worst second half season, 10-1, pathetic. I feel better if we were one. I mean, almost, Travis. Being 1-16 would be better than being 11-5 after a 10-1 start. At least we know we would stink then. At least we'd be talking draft prospects at that point. Jokes going over Phil's head like those passes thrown in the Seattle game. It is what it is. While I'm refreshed, I'm tired. I did have to get up really early to travel home all day in an airport, an airplane, clean up the house and stuff after I get home. Travel day is a long day. On a side note, when you travel, there's got to be a better way to travel. You got to get up 3 hours early, or you got to get to the airport 3-4 hours early, especially in Orlando. You got to get through security. You got to sit on an uncomfortable seat in a plane. Baggage claim takes forever. The world of airport travel is the worst. And it's getting worse as time goes on. Somebody's got to develop a better system for travel. They got to. Right now, the system, it's frustrating. It's annoying. Really, really annoying. That's why I hate travel. I love traveling, but I hate traveling because travel day, there or back, wherever you're going, is always so stressful and so damn frustrating. 25, 30 years ago, I don't remember being this frustrating. Is there anything as important as travel and airports that has gotten worse over time? Anything as worse as that? It's so frustrating. Great players don't necessarily make great coaches, but great coaches can make players great. It's interesting. Great players can make coaches look better than they are by by hiding some of the coaching mistakes. I drive Buffalo to Orlando quick and easy. Well, it's not quick. It's definitely not quick to drive the Buffalo to Orlando. But hell, the way yesterday, how frustrating it is at the airport in Philly and in Orlando, I'd rather drive the 15, 16 hours. Well, I was joking with my wife last night. And I'm like, the only way travel is comfortable is if you could fly and afford first class and, private jets and stuff like that. I mean, that's the only way that would get better. But I don't make that kind of money here. I'm not that special here, trending in the AM. So, yeah. I hope NFL makes you draft head coaches because we need that. Leave out this college coach, BJ and every other team's Patricia. Yeah. Look, that was good. I had a thought process on that, and now I lost it. Think about this because we've talked a lot about the coaches. And just remember, and we've brought this point up, that Sean Desai wasn't even the first choice. He wasn't the second choice. He wasn't the third choice. He wasn't the fourth choice. He wasn't even the fifth choice. He was like the sixth or seventh choice because coaches did not want to coach here. Brian Johnson took the promotion. Nobody else wanted to be here as the head coach or the defense coordinator. That same problem's going to happen. That's one of the main reasons why Nick Sirianni will not get fired. I mean, it would be bold if he was. That's why I don't think he will be fired. Because again, you're sending a message to the league that A, you're my puppet, and if you're not, I'm going to get rid of you. Or B, that this organization really literally is a mess and never knows what they want to do. firing Doug Peterson so quickly after the Super Bowl and then going on and firing Nick Sirianni so quickly after a Super Bowl would be disastrous for the reputation of this organization, in my opinion. Great coaches should make players great. They should. I don't think it's a joke. They should make them better. You should be able to elevate. Everybody should be. A great quarterback should elevate their wide receivers. A great wide receiver should elevate an average quarterback. There's a lot of elevating that should happen over a team. It is a team game. It is a team effort. Let's get that 5 million super chat. Yeah. It would make a difference. It really would. Patricia is like the girl who's been everywhere and sucked, and we still make him. Yeah. It's like the girl, yeah. She cheated on her last 4 husbands. But I'm going to change her. I'm going to make her stay loyal. Look, the Matt Patricia thing, the Sean Desai thing, I kind of feel like Sean Desai was gone at the end of the year no matter what. So they used Sean Desai as a scapegoat at that moment when they made that decision. See, this was the problem all along. We're making this change. It's going to solve everything. So they scapegoated Sean Desai. Matt Patricia was never going to be the answer. But it was like a little window dressing on something that was really shitty. And now we're seeing that philosophy is true, that it was just a scapegoat. But the real problem is bigger. It's a disconnect between the players and the scheme. It's not enough talent. Too many injuries. But that's the fault of the organization for bringing in Sean Desai to begin with, for not convincing one of these better candidates to be the coordinator. It's a problem. Eagles are out here going out like suckers. They really are. I know it's a joke, but they really are. They look terrible. They look bad. They look like I joked about it on the post-game show that the Eagles already have their tee times booked for the offseason. They've already got their plane tickets to Cancun or Punta Cana or wherever they're going to go. They've already got their offseason plans, and it's a damn shame. You're wasting Lane Johnson or Jason Kelsey's possible last season, Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox possible last season. You're wasting them. These guys came back for this. Maybe it's on them too because they're not leading well enough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, talk about BJ. Yeah, a lot of people like to talk about it. If you put enough cilantro and green onions on shit, it'll eventually look good. Is that a knock on Mexican food? Because I love cilantro and chopped onions on my tacos. I like a good old fashioned street taco with that stuff chopped up on it. I do. So don't bring cilantro into this conversation. If Hurts was playing better, we wouldn't be bitching about everything else. He's still missing wide open receivers. Yeah, I mean, look, we spent a lot of time talking coaches today and the organizational philosophies as a whole. Look, Jalen Hurts has regressed this year. The biggest Jalen Hurts fan in the world, me, can agree. Jalen Hurts has regressed. Now, the coaches could be helping fix that, calling more run plays, lessening his exposure, to his flaws. Again, what did we say at the beginning? Somebody put a comment up at the very beginning of the show about the fact that we have 2 1,000-yard receivers and 1,000-yard rushing running backs, and yet we're still this bad. Again, DeAndre Swift should have more than 1,000. I don't know what his exact number is right now, but let me tell you something. It should be more. I'm going to pull up the Eagles team stats right now. Whatever his rushing total is right now, 1,049 yards in 16 games. He has stayed healthy. Should be higher. I know 229 carries is a lot for him. He's still got 2 weeks and the playoffs to go. But, man, he should have 1,200, 1,300 yards by this point. But they're not focusing on him. Hell, you finally dressed Rashad Penny last week, and you didn't even put him on the field. If you're worried about Swift's, longevity this season, then use your running backs. I mean, you think about it. We've got 527 passing plays to 496. It sounds really close. But out of those, Jalen Hurts has 155 rushing attempts this year, over 600 rushing yards. My goal was to keep him under that mark this year, and they haven't. Boston Scott's got 17, averaging 1 carry a game. Kenneth Gainwell is averaging like 3 carries a game. Rashad Penny's got 5 carries the entire season. He's only played in 2 games. Dallas Goedert's even got a rushing attempt this year. What? Like, I'm looking at this rushing list. I'm like, how does Dallas Goedert have a rushing attempt? Yeah. Expecting Patricia to be able to change or implement his scheme this late. Yeah, it's not realistic. He's trying to make some slight minor adjustments. But he's not implementing his scheme if you believe what the Eagles are saying. Because it's still Sean Desai's scheme. He's just calling the plays. Just like it's Nick Sirianni's scheme and Brian Johnson is just calling the plays. Again, miscommunication. Nobody knows who's in charge. The asylum is running the plays. Smitty should have caught that ball. There was a catch that Smitty dropped. He should have had it. There have been far too many mistakes from the wide receivers this year. As great as Smitty and A.J. Brown are, the fumbles, the drop passes have been more than expected. I need Kelsey to retire so that we know what we have with Juergens at center. Yeah, you do that, then you need a right guard too. Just remember that. Coriander. Kelsey's old, so we don't besmirch his name. Marshawn, of course, green onion, scallions, and cilantro will get everything looking and tasting good. I love my cilantro and onions chopped. Almost came back this year. Coriander, okay, I'm going to make it way people friendly. Oh, man. I couldn't agree more. Elite garnish. Cilantro is an elite garnish. See, it's really tough in my household when I make tacos because my wife hates cilantro and I love cilantro. So I can't actually, put it. I got to keep it on the side, make it up to go. Reports are that AJ's issues might be with Johnson and Hurts, not Sirianni. I don't think we'll learn truly what his problem is. But see, the problem is, if we don't learn what the problem is, we're going to be disappointed. If we do learn what the problem is, we're going to call him a diva that's causing a problem in the locker room. I'm just saying. No good. Him not talking put us to the point where he had to announce he was going to talk. Now that he's announced that he's going to talk, instead of just talking randomly, now we have expectations for what he's going to talk about. Today, whatever happens with A.J. Brown, it's going to be a problem. It really is. Julio with 2 touchdowns in the first half. I just know A.J. was out there fuming. I doubt it. I think A.J. Brown wants to win. And A.J. Brown knows he's getting his. I mean, he's got over 100 catches. He's got 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. The fact that Julio Jones has been here for 10 games played, and he's got 9 catches, 3 touchdowns, maybe use him more. Maybe that would help something. Cilantro in addition to, yep, okay. We're going to get off the cilantro talk. Our defense is like a bad recipe with too many chefs tossing ingredients at random, hoping to mask the previous chef's mistake. Maybe. It's more like when you have a bad head chef and the line cooks know that they could do better, but they have to listen to the head chef. And the fry chef has to listen to the sous chef, and the grill chef has to listen to the expediter. So you got the head chef, you got the expediter, you got the sous chef, and they're the top and the next 2 in charge, and then the minions below them know that they could do better or know that the process is broken, but they got to listen to it. That's my opinion. If you want to use the cooking analogy, firing Desai made it worse. See, the thing is, not firing him made it worse by just masking his demotion made it worse. Just fire him. Just kick him out. But him still in the building, him still part of the coaching staff makes it too confusing. The way they handled it was ridiculous. Eventually, this O-line will not have Lane and Kelsey fill Juergens at right guard or center position of need will need to be replaced. Yeah, it's true. If he's the center, you need a right guard. If he's the right guard, you still need a center. That's fair. A fair point. And you still got Tyler Steen in the mix. So you've got that option as well at right guard. We want a premature. No, we're waiting. We're going to ring in the new year, and we're going to wait till my clock says exactly 60 minutes. 3, 2, 1. You are watching Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. It's 9 a.m., 30 minutes left in the show. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe and follow button. Wherever you're watching, if you're watching on Twitter, which there are a lot of people have been watching on Twitter in the last 2 weeks, hit that like and retweet button. Comment on the show. Follow me at Beard and Knowledge. We're right back to the comments after the first reset of the new year. There we go. How's that? How's that for you, resetters? I agree. Nothing good is going to come from it either way. Yeah, like, I just don't see how anything AJ Brown says today is going to be good. Then nothing positive is going to be coming out of it. I got to know, TMC, why'd you change your name? You tried to sneak a name change in, and we noticed it right from the get-go, but I got to know why. Any reset is a good reset. Gives me a second to breathe for a second here. Yeah, but a good chef can make those adjustments. Look at Chiefs last season with all those rookies on the defense. You know, the Chiefs are interesting. Now, I'm not a Chiefs content creator. I don't follow Chiefs content creators, but I got to assume that nobody in Kansas City is calling for Patrick Mahomes' head. Nobody's asking for Andy Reid to be fired. I highly doubt that. But yet, in this city, the Eagles are struggling. Nick Sirianni's got to be fired. This guy's got to be fired. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts is not good enough. Like, they have the benefit of the doubt because they've won and they've been doing it for so long. But also, that becomes norm. And when the norm doesn't happen, you would think the fan base would freak out. But they're not, under my understanding right now. AJ got his. Looks at second half stat, and he had 1 target. I doubt Julio's going to come out tonight or today and say, I need more. It's so many reset comments. I'm just trying to like and page through them all. I highly doubt he comes out and says, I need the ball more. You guys are wasting my talent. I can almost guarantee he is not going to talk about he's not being used enough. I just don't see it. He's got the most targets, most catches, most yards on this team, tied for the most touchdowns. I just don't see that being what he said. He's either going to call out Sirianni, Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts, or he's going to just say, we as a team need to stick together better and hold each other. He's going to say, he's either going to be very cliche-ish, or he's going to call out 1 of 4 people. But that's it. He's not going to say, give me the ball more. Our head chef is turning chicken breast into chicken shit. Very possible. I mean, there is a lot of talent on this offense. So many reset comments. You guys love the reset more than the actual show. I feel like me starting the hard reset, I think, ruined this show. I might just end the reset. Correct, because he is looking to be. He wants to be. He thinks he's the chef at Lebec Finn. Is that still a restaurant? Is that still a high fancy restaurant? I don't know. He wants to be the chef at Lebec Finn, but he's really the head chef at Apple. That's the standard right now. They don't even have head chef. They have a kitchen manager, not a head chef. What's up, Dave? How you doing? I listened to Seth Joyner's show last night, and he called out so many things our defense is doing, regardless of talent, and it was truly eye-opening. And that's fine. And he might have a good eye for it. And we brought up him, for one. I had to make sure the MVP got on the show. He might be very good at picking this out. But as we talked earlier in the show, Dave, about this, everybody wants Buddy Ryan style defense backer, want Seth Joyner as our defense coordinator. Just because he could pick it out and call it out does not mean he would make a great defensive coordinator. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but people listen to Seth Joyner's show and his conversation, his social media posts, and they think magically he's going to be this great defensive coordinator. And just being able to do that is not going to make it any better. It's not. And that's something that Eagles fans got to realize. That Seth Joyner is not the answer. We can agree with what he has to say. We can agree with what he's looking at and seeing, but we cannot say that he needs to be the defensive coordinator. Just so you know, he'll always be TMC to me. too, as well. And we're not going to go into more reset comments. Just not doing it. And make sure you guys are hitting that like button, please. Only 10 likes on YouTube right now. Not good enough. 4 on Facebook. Hit that like button, that share button. A couple days off with the new year, and the algorithm got killed today. What is up with that? Come on, guys. Pull it together. Pull it together, people. But yeah, Seth Joyner can see it. We can all see what the problems are with this defense. But again, going back to the beginning, we're going back. A lot of the problems on defense are on Howie Roseman. Problem one, picking the wrong defensive coordinator. He could have given it to Denard Wilson or whatever his name is in Baltimore. He got overlooked. Not saying he would be better or not, but what he's doing with defensive backs there, with what he did with the defensive backs here last year, maybe he should have been the pick over Desai. You literally, because you have your finger on too much as a GM, you had one coach say he'd sit out a year. Another coach that wanted to go into the pros decided to go back to college. I'm just going to make a random scenario. This is not something that I predict is going to happen. It's not going to happen. But just say this is a total hypothetical situation. Because of the reputation that Howie Roseman is getting as a way too hands-on GM. Just say, hypothetically speaking, we lose this week to the Giants. We lose next week. We're out of the playoffs after round one. Nick Sirianni gets fired. Hypothetically speaking. There is a rumor, okay, that Jim Harbaugh will be leaving Michigan after this year. Made the national championship game. He'll be playing next week against Washington. Maybe we'll talk about that next week for a minute. Doubtful because I know nothing about it. But just say, the biggest name on the coaching carousel this upcoming offseason might be Jim Harbaugh. Everybody's going to want to dump a lot of money into Jim Harbaugh. You think Jim Harbaugh is going to come here to Philly? The writing's on the wall after Doug Peter. Jim Harbaugh is going to want full control over his team. You think he's going to come here knowing that Howie Roseman really has full say? That, Howie Roseman tells him what to do? He can't even pick his own staff? No. He wouldn't come here. And that's a bold, hypothetical. But that would be the situation. Defense coordinators. You're going to struggle to get an experience like Brian Flores. Would he be available? Not as defense coordinator, maybe as head coach. Brian Flores isn't going to come here. No, he's not going to have full say over his defense. You're going to get up-and-coming linebacker and cornerback coaches. And that's it. To be defensive coordinators. Think Jim Harbaugh would end up in Washington? He probably is going to end up in the pros. Where? No clue. But Jim Harbaugh is not going to go somewhere with a reputation that Howie Roseman is developing in Philly. Way too much. And he doesn't value, Jim Harbaugh would say, well, I want a linebacker. Well, Howie Roseman's going to be here's $2 million. Go find yourself 3 linebackers. And that's it. Way too much talent for 10 likes. Absolutely agree with that. Way too much good content for only 10 likes. Even at the beginning of the season, I said this offense is going to have to carry the defense. They aren't good enough. Offense is bigger disappointment to me. And that's fair. And the offense is the biggest disappointment because of the turnovers, the lack of utilizing the run game. There's so many things there. But it's scheme. There's still boatloads of talent on the offense. That's where Brian Johnson's got to go. If Harbaugh came here, I swear to effing God, I'd become a Giants fan. Look, I'm not saying it. I don't want him here. He would never be in conversation here. Whatever. I'm using Jim Harbaugh as an example of what the reputation, in my opinion, of this team and this organization is becoming. That's what I'm saying. What are we going to do when the Eagles get eliminated from the playoffs in the first round? Sixers and Phillies talk for 6 months. Well, we'll definitely always have Football Friday. We'll make sure in the offseason, Fridays are always dedicated to football. We'll still talk playoff football once the Eagles are eliminated. Yes, the Sixers, as soon as the season ends for the Eagles, will become a very, very big part of the conversation every week. Sorry, I miss talking Sixers. I'm happy about the Sixers right now. Yes, we will even talk some Flyers after the Eagles season ends. Maybe not every day, but we will bring the Flyers into the conversation. And yes, we'll have Football Friday. We'll have Baseball Tuesday. We'll have Sixers multiple times a week. We'll have I'll bring back my old segment, What's Up with the Flyers? I used to do a segment once a week. What's up with the Flyers? We'll bring that back. So much that we could do once the Eagles season. Don't worry. This show ain't going nowhere. As soon as the Rock announced the mergers, I popped champagne. Dude, you care way too much about those alternate football leagues. The year the Ravens won the Super Bowl, they were 10-6, and they lost 4 of their last 6 regular season games. It's fair. Look. Another person trying to be uber positive, just like Travis, that we got a chance. Where's Travis? Is he still here? Because Travis and Ty are on the same page. Sixers are playing. Look, Joel Embiid didn't think he would have a better season than his MVP season, but he is. Maybe talk about the Union. You might win it more. Liam, did you see this one, Liam? Is Embiid back from Christmas? He came back from Christmas vacation last night, and he dropped a 31-minute triple-double. 31 points and double-digit rebounds and assists. But, yeah, he took a little Christmas vacation. If the Eagles weren't happening right now, we would be talking about the Christmas vacation philosophy and what he did there. Look, and I want to come back to this again. And I know people are some fans are trying to find some form of hope, some glimmer of hope. And didn't Baltimore fire their offense or defensive coordinator that year, halfway through the season or during that losing streak? And they turned it around. I get it. But see, at least the Eagles didn't even do what the Ravens did. They didn't fire anybody. They kept Sean Desai. I think there could have been a bigger turnaround if they just flat out fired Desai. Or flat out fired. Like, I was against firing Brian Johnson earlier. I admit I was wrong. Brian Johnson is a bigger problem than I was willing to admit. But just fire them. Don't keep their titles and strip some of their duties and move them to the box up top. Like, they just do too, they send too many mixed messages. Playoffs. Yeah, can we just win a game? Look, I can't even predict an Eagles win on Sunday against the Giants. I mean, they should win. They might win by 40. But I can't go into it confidently thinking they're going to win. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost that game. The Giants almost won last week. Yet the Giants will probably try to lose for draft position. Just like the Cardinals were trying to lose. I'm still not over the fact that the Cardinals said, I don't want to win this game. Here's the football on the 40-yard line. We're going to do an onside kick. And you still couldn't win the damn game. How we can go into any game confident this team's going to win? No clue. Can I write? I write on a 6th grade level still. Now, I can write a little bit. That's how I got my bones before podcasting. I was writing a little bit. I don't like to write. I used to have my own little WordPress blog for golf content. I don't like to write. I can write. I just don't like doing it. It takes a lot of time to put together a quality article. So yeah, Ravens fired or hired Jim Caldwell. I don't even remember what the situation was exactly. Sirianni said they might even rest some of the stars this week. Look, I mean, we're going to get into it more tomorrow and more on Friday when we get more into the Eagles-Giants matchup and how important the game is for the Eagles. But I wouldn't be against them sitting some guys. Just not because of the game. Because it is the playoffs still the week after. And you're going to MetLife Stadium, Meadowlands, and that atrocious turf that causes more injuries than all the stadiums in the NFL combined, probably. More people get hurt at MetLife. And I don't want Jalen Hurts getting hurt. I don't want Kelsey getting hurt. I don't want anybody getting hurt on our team. One of my biggest topics this all season is going to be pumping the NFL to force the Giants and the Jets or whoever, I don't even know who owns the stadium, technically, to make drastic changes to that turf. Because you want to spend so much of your energy focusing on the tush push and how bad that is for football, because that's a play that could cause injuries and barely does. Yet you don't want to eliminate the MetLife turf that actually causes injuries on a regular basis. So I would be okay if they rested some of their guys. But, yeah. Start Mariota, watch Foles Yeah, Mariota starts with Lamade Zacchaeus and Quez Watkins because you rest everybody, and they win like 47-10, and everybody's gonna be saying next week, start Mariota. Yeah, you know that's gonna happen. Thoughts on resting our stars and working on fundamentals at practice and get rest before Tampa? I'm 50-50 on it too. I didn't see your comment before I got into just saying that. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I'm 50-50 on it because I want our team to get back in their mode. I would almost play it, Dave, as a preseason game. Like the final draft, it was used to be game 3 of preseason. Now it's game 2 of preseason. That final dress rehearsal. I'd put the starters out there, 2, 3, 4 drives, let them get in a rhythm. And once they have that rhythm down, score a big touchdown, whatever it may be, and just pull them off once their confidence is there, and then just play the backups. That's what I would do. Now, I don't know if they'll do it or not. I don't know if that's the right attitude or not. Um, yeah. You did not know PS. Look, yeah, you should have gotten me. It's in the bio of this show every single day, the website. It is. You should have known. And it's an embarrassment that you did not know. You should be suspended for not knowing. Dallas isn't losing to Washington, and they want the number 2 seed. I agree. You know, to get a home field game in the playoffs, you need Dallas to lose. To get the number 2 seed, you need Dallas and Detroit to lose. So what's the point of it? Washington's packed it in. So, I don't know. Treat it like the bye week we blew. But not winning the 1 seed. Yeah, again, I'm 50-50 on it. You can play everybody or you can not play everybody. You can play them a little bit, try to get a groove back, but you risk injuries doing it. I don't know. I'm not an analytic guy, but I guess somewhere in that 90 percentile that we're not going to get better than that 5th seed. So we're going to Tampa. Maybe New Orleans too. I think Tampa or New Orleans are our options. Tampa's there right now. I think New Orleans is tied with them. So maybe a loss. Yeah, I guess. I tried to start looking at some of the playoff scenarios before the show, but I don't know. But it might be the smart way to go. Maybe a week off, a step back gives them that moment to reset their brains so that they can come out in the playoffs. I mean, on paper, we should be able to beat Tampa in Tampa the first round of the playoffs. Then all of a sudden, you get to the second round, you face whoever. It's a different story. Who knows? Maybe Travis is right. Maybe we get on a run in the playoffs. You can't do that if your players get hurt in a meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants. And it's not meaningless, I know. But it kind of is. Who would I rather play, Tampa or the Saints? I don't think it matters, honestly, Bobby. I really don't. On one hand, you go up against Baker Mayfield. The other hand, the Saints, they both have solid defenses on paper. Tampa's got more weapons on offense. I mean, our cornerbacks are issues right now. So, would you really want to play against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? I don't know. But the Saints and that dome down there, it's a scary place to go into in the playoffs, no matter who's playing for the Saints. And they spread the ball more around in New Orleans. I don't know, Bobby, who I'd rather play. I wouldn't be confident in either game. But if I had to pick right now, gun to my head, I would go Tampa over New Orleans. Honestly, PS, I don't know anything about that. I don't work for the website, so I don't know if it's good or not. I read it, but I don't know. On paper, we should beat Arizona. On paper, we should have beaten a lot of teams, and we didn't. So that's why I'm saying I'm not confident in any of it. On paper, sure. On paper, we should be the 13-4 team I predicted. On paper, we should be 15-2. Again, we were 10. Let's just think about this one more time. We were 10-1. We're 11-5 now. I saw people saying that Arizona loss was one of the worst losses in the last 24 years in Eagles history. Since the beginning of the Andy Reid era. One of the worst losses ever. Now, some people were saying it was the worst. That's not the case. But it's up there. Especially when they were trying to give you the game. But again, that's why, doesn't matter who we'd rather play at this point. We're going to play who we play. And unless something clicks, like Travis says, a light bulb going off, there's nothing we can do about it. This team is going to be there's no way a 9-8 team in the playoffs should beat the Eagles. But there's no way that I could predict when we go into that round of the playoffs. There's no way I'm going to do on the Friday before the playoffs, our final preview and prediction show of Eagles versus whoever, wild card round of the playoffs. I guarantee you right now, I will not be predicting an Eagles win. I can't in my right mind have confidence in this team winning anymore this year. Phil keeps rolling. Look, I keep rolling. I keep taking my kicks and I keep going, man. Phil, I got laughed at. Look, you should have gotten laughed at that. You got to know there's a website. It's there. You got to. Why were you laughed at in school? He got laughed at for not knowing there's a website. I don't know, goofy looking maybe. Yeah, I was goofy looking in school. Statistician Kyle's not in the comments today, but he'll tell you. Got laughed at a lot in school. Anyway, we're in the final 10 minutes of the show. We spent a lot of time pointing fingers today. And I don't know which direction tomorrow's show is going to go in, because the show tomorrow is going to be, before I could plan it, is going to be based about what A.J. Brown does or doesn't say today. Losses to Jets, Seahawks, and Drew Lock and the Cards, who haven't played a game where they never punted in a game in 60 years. I still haven't gotten over the fact that the Cardinals punter didn't have to see the field once. It's pathetic. There are 3 really atrocious losses. The Jets one was awful. The Seahawks one, I saw coming a mile away, but still didn't think it would happen. And the Cards loss, well, I mean, that's the worst loss of them all. We looking like food to anyone that's going to play us. Yeah. We're the chum, and they're the fish. They're going after the chum. Is that what it's called? Not really a fisher. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. Where's Eric with the big money payout? Yeah. Drew Lock. The fact that we lost to Drew Lock is pathetic. My only thing is we played Tampa recently. Todd Bowles knows as well. The Saints don't. You're desperate for clinging hope. But see, the thing is, Bobby, you would be smarter or more right as a fan to not have confidence in either team. There's not one team. I had earlier up on my side screen the playoff picture, listed. I don't anymore. But I was looking at all the teams in the playoffs, and I still can make the playoffs. And I would not predict any team to lose to the Eagles in the first round of the playoffs. Now, depending on what happens, if say they win in a convincing way against Tampa, the Saints or whoever, maybe then I go, all right, maybe we got a chance in the division round. But the wild card right now, there's no team that I can predict to lose to the Eagles. None. It's not going to happen. Kyler Murray, you should play Bryce Young for the parlay. Look, I was wrong on Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray heard this show, heard me talk bad about him, and he went out and beat us. Chum. It's called chum. That's what I thought. Like, I'm not a fisher guy. Never fished before in my life. Too boring for me. Big mistakes on letting Kayvon Wallace go. He's having a good season at Titans. He tackles well. I never thought I would agree that we need Kayvon Wallace back on this team, but we do. That was the end of my coffee for the day. Kayvon Wallace, TJ Edwards, Kazir White, all those guys. We lost a lot of talent. Some guys that we didn't think were talented, but they were talented, or better than the talent that was. There's another Howie Roseman point the finger at. Howie Roseman lost these guys and replaced them. These guys were here. He replaced them with guys down here. Big mistake on Howie's part. Eagles D looked like of individuals not functioning D this past Sunday. Shout out to a couple of the young guys for still showing flashes. Yeah, we gotta give it. See, the thing is though, Sean. Yeah, Sidney Brown had some nice flashes. Keely Ringo's had some nice flashes recently. But we're not supposed to be a team that's developing young talent for the future. We're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender right now. And that's the problem. that I have is that we're hoping these guys develop for next year. We're supposed to be winning a damn Super Bowl this year, and we're not. We're not even close. Who's got it worse than us? Nobody. I agree. I mean, honestly, it's meant to be a joke, and I get it. I get what you're saying, Kayvon, but I'm going to take it more seriously, and it's very, very literal. Nobody's worse than us right now. There's not. Tampa will be hard to play against because we beat them. If we meet them again, they're going to give us all. See, the thing is, this team of the Eagles right now is also much different than the team that played. The team right now is not confident. The team that beat Tampa way back in the season was a confident team. Big difference. Big difference in the two teams. Against Tampa, Todd Bowles will use the blitz to bury Sirianni's offense. Yeah, and we'll get an excuse that they ran a quarterback draw on 3rd and 27 because of the blitz look, and we're supposed to just believe that was the right call. Gannon cut Kayvon. He was so bad. Did he cut him or did he trade him? I don't know. He was actually playing pretty solidly. I don't know what the deal was there. Rex Ryan said that what happens when you shop at Kmart. Yeah, I mean, look, I see people saying because of Buddy Ryan, we should bring Rex Ryan in here. Rex Ryan hasn't coached in a long time. People. Not the answer. Come on, man. No, there ain't nobody that we can win against right now. I'm going to take things very literal right now because that's just how I feel right now. Something tells me DC backfield coaches, linebacker coaches, all garbage. The whole defense is garbage, top to bottom. That's on Howie Rose. Packers will be in. They might make it. I forget where they are exactly, but they could be in. Winning, they're in, I think. Our answers to the blitz are bubble screens that don't work or quarterback draws from 3rd and long with the great Kenny Gainwell. Uh-oh. Don't make a Kenny Gainwell joke with K1 in the chat. What's up, Kyle? How you doing? Didn't think I would miss Alex. You know, where's he playing this year? Is he still in Denver? All I know is I was watching a game and I saw Alex Singleton and I totally had forgotten about him. So I was not a fan of Singleton. Thought he was very average at best. But Alex Singleton on this team, we'd be a better defense. We have failed at the linebacker position by bringing in injury-prone players and relying on young injury-prone players that were never going to live up to the expectations that were set for them. The offense play calls has been so predictable. I used to be a linebacker and D-backs coach for middle school. When a middle, this is not a joke against you. This is a joke on the Eagles. When a middle school coach can say it, that's not good. And that's not a knock on you, JVC. That's just saying that professional coaches should be able to devise things so complex that only other professionals can stop it. But no, it's bad. Singleton's still in Denver, and he's a pretty solid player in Denver. He's played good. He's been there a couple of years now. Broncos tackling like crazy over in Denver. He got faster and wrapped tackles like a bear. I always thought he didn't wrap. He made a lot of tackles, but he used to make a lot of tackles falling backwards, which means you're not getting good leverage. And, you know, the offensive guy can always gain that extra yard on the fall forward. If he's doing that better, good for him. And we're missing out. I didn't like TJ Edwards. I thought he dropped off last year. Well, TJ Edwards would be 1,000 times better than what we got out there right now. Hear me out. Derek Barnett was good at time. I don't have to hear you out. I agree with you. I didn't want to get rid of Derek Barnett. He was our best run stopper on the edge. It's bad. I did not want to get rid of Derek Barnett. I always was a Derek Barnett fan. Thought he got a bad rap here. But that is what it is. What's up, Battlehawks? All right. We're in the final minute here. We're going to wrap this show up. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe. Doubtfully. Hopefully. H.A. Brown gives us something juicy to talk about tomorrow. Otherwise, we might use the title that was given to me earlier in the show. The Eagles are doomed. They are. I feel like we can use assistance on offense. Doesn't hurt to bring someone and try something different. We're not going to bring anybody now. Nathan Geary, is he available? Yeah. Everybody, have a great Wednesday. Back to work. First day back to work. I just have 11 days off. I don't know how the first day back to work is going to go. It's always crazy, that first day back to work. But I'm looking forward to it. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Let's hope we get some juice. Did you get vacation lobsters? I'm not a lobster fan. My wife got a lobster, or not my wife, my sister got a lobster at STK in Orlando last night or 2 nights ago, and it was awful. So yeah, I think lobster is so overrated. The locker room is infested. Will be hard to turn things around. It's true. Uh, I'm going to write that word down because I like that phrase. Locker room infested. And I'm going to get back to that for sure. Take care. Thank you very much. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting that share, subscribe button, retweet button on Twitter every day, 8 a.m. Back to it. I foresee nothing causing any shows to be missed in the near future right now. So we'll be back to full time, 5 days a week starting today. As long as AJ says he's requested a trade, I'll be fine with it. Um, that would be something. That would be something that would give us something to talk about for sure. But we're wrapping it up there. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Hit that like, share, subscribe, follow button. Drop the comments on the replay. See you guys tomorrow. Go Birds.